That's what we see Jay-Z has done. That's what we see Puff has done. The music don't become how you pay the bills. It's a lot of pressure off of it. You got other things bringing in income, you can make music.
This new song with Nip and Jay, what the fuck, I got something to say. What a slap in the fucking face. Like what the fuck is going on? Who told you that song and did you know all along? And why did your bitch sell that painting 2 weeks after he was gone? I'ma tell you what it feels like. It feels a little fishy. Feels like something's going on ever since that John Legend song and college prediction of a Grammy. If you ask me, I can't stand him. Seems a little weird. Question number one, why's there no blood? Question number two, Sam left in the AM is true, but you're talking about the shits all up in the afternoon. Don't trip, we're gonna find out the truth soon. Who did what to who? Did they plan to eat the chili fries or was it just a surprise? Can you see the lies of witness in a cowboy's eyes? Are we gonna just sit here and forget? Are we gonna ride like Nip said? It's a little weird that the judge quit. Handing out immunities like candy makes me sick. I got a lot of unanswered questions like, why is the footage all grit and I can't see shit? Who the fuck is that white man in that white BMW? Probably was the FBI. Yeah, I noticed that white guy, and I noticed the car wasn't in the pictures when they showed them afterwards. They thought we would forget. They got that shit backwards. They weren't expecting me to drop this track and raise all these questions with my Mac words. I'm really mobbing through LA smoking backwoods. I've been doing this shit all my life. TMC, AMI. You might just see an empty parking lot when you ride by. Well, me, I see way more. I see an independently owned store. I see the community taking power back, whether you're white, Mexican, Asian, or black. As long as you're not blue. Good ones, there might be a few, but from my life experience, I'm like, fuck that. I'm not defending Eric, but what's the fucking delay? They requested a quick trial, it's been over 800 days. They try to distract us in so many clever, creative ways. Yeah, you got your Grammy, and now you're a billionaire. But what about the families that are still living there? Seems a little unfair, just a little something to compare. I never seen a fireman wearing a bulletproof vest. Yes, the shit to me seems a little suspect. The shit's a little weird. Crisis actors taking away our fathers, making our child some bastards, killing creative men and women for their masters. The waves that Nip wrote in, you didn't know it began. A bunch of new chapters. You didn't think about what would happen after. We would put the pieces together on your transparent bullshit. I can see right through it, like the clear blue sky in the LA sunny weather, where the palm trees swing side to side and we ride together on a white horse or a double R hearse in a foreign car. Either way, you gotta be on guard because they're on tap for anyone who's brown or black with tats. Everybody sees it, but nobody wants to attack. It's sad if you ask. We all gotta blast back. We're in the game, but we can't touch the ball. Seems a little unfair if you ask me, that's all. So take your ignorant ass to YouTube and type in Tanika Views to get the real news. We're doing the shit for justice, not views. Sharing knowledge and coming together, that's the real tool. He tried to lead us to the lake, so don't sleep on the knowledge that he gave to me and you. He wanted us to learn from his mistakes, so with our new knowledge, good decisions we could make. And also one thing I wanted to say myself, they killed Dr. Sebi because he was teaching health. Assassins, they come in all shapes and sizes, big booties, hips and thighs. Oh, you're Diddy's girl, right? Oh yeah, John Legend, some things happen at your video shoot. I got a couple questions for you. All those strings you pulled, you still can't make a rap hit. You punk ass little bitch, you probably got a little dick. All the shit that you have to did. This new song with Nip and Jay, what the fuck, I got something to say. What a slap in the fucking face. This new song with Nip and Jay, what the fuck, I got something to say. What a slap in the fucking face.
That is none other than my favorite rapper on the West Coast, Rainz Cash, RAINZCASH. And you can find his music on music platforms all over. You can find it on cdbaby.com. You can find it on Apple Music. You can find it on YouTube Music. Anywhere music is sold, you can go there and get this song that you heard, Anonymous. He's spitting the raps, and I'm playing the music. And it's called Anonymous by Rainz Cash. Got his own clothing line now. Got his own skateboard. Got his own hats. Boy, it's popping. Sponsoring his own cigars and started right here with us in 2019 when we were covering the Nipsey Hussle trial. And now he's doing it big. Y'all go out and support Rainz Cash. Now, I know this is part 5 of the woman that I married was married to somebody else and didn't tell me. And we left y'all off on Hoodoo and Voodoo. But, you know, this is not easy and it's time consuming. So I want to start off by saying everything on this show is alleged and used for entertainment, religious, spiritual, and educational purposes. So we're going to definitely be talking about education. Some of you guys are being educated, so you can be careful. And you can look at this as I went through this, and you can try and avoid this because many of you guys are single and you're on dating sites and stuff like that. And you can make the same mistake that I made. And the reason why I'm opening up my life and sharing with you to show you how easy it is to make a mistake. I was sharing with somebody earlier today, one of my, I call her my home girl. She cool. She from Chi-Town. I said to her, I said, you know, it takes $25, $30 to get married, but it takes 25,000 to get out, maybe more than that. If a person has got money and the court's going to eat it up to make sure that you don't have anything. So, you know, y'all be careful when you're out there. Just don't look at this to look at it. Realize there are natural things and supernatural things in play, at play, going on at all times. And don't forget about God. All right. Remember, Jesus is the center of your joy. He's the source of your strength, and he will guide you and protect you from a lot of these things. Because he certainly got me out of this one. I'll let you know before we even get to part 10 that it was God who got me out of this one completely. No question about it. I got myself into it. But when it was over with, I was worse than Jonah. The well had to vomit me up. I know what it's like now to be vomited up. See, because basically in this situation, I told God said, go to Nineveh. That's what he said to me. I said, no, I'm going to Tarshish. Forget that, man. I'm tired of doing this. I done gave you my youth and everything. And it's time for me to have some fun. It's time for me to go hot dogging, styling, and profiling. I want to do it this way. But I'm going to tell you something. Whenever you leave God, every place you go is down. Jonah went down to Tarshish, left Tarshish and went down to the sea, went from the sea down to the boat, went down on the boat and went down in the boat. And then he went, laid down and went to sleep. And then as the boat went out to the water, a serious storm came. Jonah knew it was his fault. Then Jonah went down in the water, in the ocean. And he went down in the ocean. He went down in the belly of a whale. And then the whale went down to the bottom of the ocean. When you leave God, you'll know because every place you go is down. every place. And luckily for Jonah, just like luckily for me, God had a heart. He let you learn lessons. And God told the whale to go ahead and take Jonah to dry land and spit him up. And the whale vomited Jonah up on dry land. So I thank God for being on dry land as I'm speaking to you right now. I'm on dry land. A lot of people didn't make it, but God saw fit that I made it and I'm here. So I wanted to share that with y'all. So nevertheless, in part 5, we're back to hoodoo and voodoo. So we explain to you guys, voodoo relies upon spirits to do the job. So when voodoo is done right, it's extremely powerful. But I'm going to tell you, hoodoo is far more powerful. Now, for some reason, when I was in school, voodoo and spirits were more interesting to me. So I took my trips to Africa, to Haiti, and to various South American countries to study and to learn. And for some reason, hoodoo was not like at the top of the list to me. I found people who do hoodoo nasty versus the people who use voodoo. They use spirits. There's nothing nasty about them. They're not putting nothing in your food or putting a coochie cat in your food or anything like that. They are literally working with the devil. They are working with a spirit and they're trying to send the spirit over to you to cause destruction. Now, if you're serving God, of course, that's not going to happen because the enemy may come in like a flood, but the Holy Spirit will lift up a standard against him. So the key to any of this stuff actually working is you got to be out of God. And so you got to watch people because what they'll do is try and take you away from God. And it's very simple. I was telling somebody from my belief in the Bible that you shouldn't drink, period, whatsoever at all, period. And a lot of warlocks, ladies, and a lot of witches, men, understand that. And so they'll take you to a fancy dinner and, oh, you know what? I want you to have some wine. The Bible says wine is a marker. Strong drink, whiskey, is raging, and whosoever is deceived is not wise. So according to the Bible, you're not wise if you drink it. So that means you're a fool. And some people will make you be a fool and make you drink it because at that point in time, you kind of violate your religion. They're taking you further and further and further away from God, capitalizing upon what you think is loneliness. You're having a good time because you're with somebody, and they're moving you further and further away from God because they want to get their hands in your life and get their um, gain control of your thoughts and of your mind. I remember once asking this young lady a question, and to me, it was so stupid. And she was trying to tell me that you have to be able to take her mind. I'm like, you a fool. Didn't the NAACP tell you that a mind is a terrible thing to waste? mean, this nigga tell you your mind is a terrible thing to waste.
See, I loved you like a sister, but you died too quick. And that's why we called you bitch. I bet you.
Ain't no in the world I'm gonna give anybody my mind. You can give me an eargasm or two, that's okay, but I'm not giving you my mind. You control your mind, control your heart. But who wants to control anybody? The Bible says that control is a sign of witchcraft. It's the same as witchcraft. Somebody come in and control you and take control of your life. But I'm telling you something. If you're not in God, it's very easy. Before you know it, you will be living somebody else's life and they will be in control of you and you'll be operating in something you have no business being operating in because they are able to take your mind. And if they take your mind, you can't think. And that means that they're going to think for you because you can't think. And that's what hoodoo workers practice. And they use dirt, as we were saying. They use dirt. And here's the tag we left off on in part 4. This is part 5, so don't get confused. It's part 5. So if you haven't saw part 4, go see part 4. If you haven't saw part 3, then go see part 3. If you haven't saw part 2, then go see part 2. And if you haven't saw part 1, go and listen or see part 1. If you can, pay attention to the pictures because the pictures will show you a lot. You know, like I showed people last night, and like she wanted to know how did I find out all this information. And I said, again, look at this picture. Look at all this junky ass shit. This is like 1,000, 1,500 pages of stuff. This is the island in the middle of the kitchen. The entire island is covered with all kind of gook and stuff and paperwork. So if a person can't sleep and they're walking around your house, what the hell you think they're gonna do? They're gonna look at this paperwork, look at some of this stuff here. And you got documentation going all the way back to the early 2000s when you were putting money in your mother's bank account, hiding it from your first husband, just laying here. You got your current checking information on how you're getting deposits in your current checking account from your stepfather without your mother knowing it, how much money is actually coming in that account. And you wonder how a person get this. And this is just the island, but the entire floor and the entire kitchen area where she would sit was filled with all of this information. I mean, information about her health, just laying around when she contracted a disease and all of that stuff, just laying around there. I'm like walking around going, holy cow. I remember when I found information about our first husband just laying up under a table. Like, here's his medical information just laying here. Oh my God, I didn't even know that was there. I'm like, not only is it here, according to the paper, it's from 2016. So it's been sitting in this one place in 2016. People, I kid you not. I'm going, so this piece of paper has been sitting up under this damn thing, but you ain't cleaned under this fucking dresser since 2016 because this is very vital information about this guy. He had a colonoscopy. She had probably given him herpes and a host of other things. It's just laying right there for anybody to see. And I'm like, oh, I vacuumed. You couldn't have vacuumed under there because if you had, this wouldn't be here. And so all this information you need, everything you want to see that she's lying is laying around. You don't have to go get anything. You just read it and you keep it to yourself and figure out what is your next move on how you're going to get out of this. And you want to, how did the person get this? It's sitting right here. And I have thousands and thousands and thousands of other sheets, including her information right here, which she didn't know I even had. I got it the second day that I was there going, okay, this is very, very intriguing. Very, very intriguing. And I'm like, okay, this is weird that anybody would have this kind of stuff laying around in their house, information on how to contact these banks and stuff. So as you lie, I get on the phone, I call to verify either what you're saying is true, and I know what you're saying is a lie. And so now I know constantly in this relationship after a little bit to check anything that's said because you're lying about everything completely. So, however, one of the ways that this worked on me, and I came back to part 5 because I'm gonna tell you what I did to counteract what she was actually doing. A lot of this stuff can be counteracted. Thank God that I went to, like I told you, I went to school because this stuff can be counteracted. All right. And so we told y'all last night that was foot track magic. You see what that is? Most of y'all probably didn't get foot track magic. That's where a person wants the dirt from your shoes and the dirt from where one step is used to target that person, these tracks are collected for either beneficial or negative magic. So a person will take things from your shoes, the dust, the dirt from your shoes, and they can try and use it for something positive, or they can use it for something negative. This is why a lot of women keep witches on call. After I put in some hidden cameras and some listening devices, I find out she'd go into the washroom completely and call this woman and a man and would tell them everything in the whole world. So one of the things I started to do was feed her junk and wait till she come back, because she wanted somebody else to tell her something else about what I said and what I learned. I learned this in politics. I used to be in politics. I worked on Harold Washington's campaign. So when in politics, when they want to find out you are a liar or a piece of crap, they will take two of the people who worked for them or interning for them. They will tell one thing and tell the other one a whole nother thing. And whichever one circulates back, that's exactly when they get rid of your ass, because they know you're the one who went out and told. So I would say things, and then immediately she had to get the approval of other people, and didn't think that people knew she was in the washroom talking to these people and she was being recorded the whole time. And I'm like, wow, this is absolutely fascinating, absolutely incredible. And then, I would say politely, giving her every opportunity possible, don't talk about things that I tell you. I said, it's not good for you to talk. Don't share anything. Oh, I'm not. I'm like, I just got to listening to you share something that I told you. And sometimes I wouldn't have to listen because it found a way to circulate back. Listen, people, this is a small world. It's not a big world. You add some things to it. If you're African American, you add the church to it, the world just became really small. It became from a world to just a few blocks. If you add certain other social groups to it, like social media, now the world is definitely, it ain't but a few miles long. That's it, because everybody knows everybody, and word's going to get around, especially when people know that you're involved with somebody on social media. They're not going to contact the person who's with you. They contact the person that's on social media. So why would you go out and do some stupid shit and think that you're going to get away with it? I don't have the slightest idea at all, period. It's ignorancy. She's an ignoramus. That's correct. She is. If you want to know the definition of an ignoramus, it would definitely be this woman right here. There's no question about it. A complete ignoramus. Y'all call it ignorant or whatever you want to call it, but the appropriate term, the appropriate enunciation is ignoramus or ignoramus. That is what an individual is who would do this kind of stuff and then leave the information pretty much laying around and try to figure out how a person got it. So that was foot tracking. But the thing that I wanted to show was hoodoo workers. There's no question about it. Dirt's involved with everything that they do. So you see here, it says that graveyards has an unidentifiable, strong connection to the spiritual world, as well as to the natural world. Hoodoo practitioners harness the magical properties of graveyard dirt. One of the things that fascinated me is, I don't being a pastor preacher, I have to do funerals and stuff. So after a while, graveyards and stuff like that just you become dead to you. But I was shocked after going to Kingston, Tennessee, where this woman's from, and she lived directly across the street from a cemetery. Now, from me being from the Midwest, if you're white people know that there's a few places they can move to that black people ain't gonna come, and one of them is by a cemetery. Most black people do not want to be near or around a cemetery at all. Period. You can go to Blue Island, Illinois, and be some of the nicest houses in the south of Chicago, in Blue Island and Alsip. But most black people don't want to be around there because where they are right there, you'll find cemeteries there, and some people are spooky and they watch scary movies and be afraid and see spirits. And so they're not going to no cemetery. But she had no problem at all, period, because she was like raised right across the street from one. Now, this is going to come into play when I finally get to this place, because I'm going to recognize, like I told you guys in the previous video, that she, at a certain time of the day, would always come through and want to play in dirt, even after I'd spent $65 a week having the bushes cut and the grasses cut, and people would come and trim that shit up. It was still never enough. And it was always the same time. Always the same time. A couple of times it was different, but it was the same principle. What I mean by that, the same principle meaning that it was always at a time when I was outside. If I didn't go to a certain area and didn't stand there, then she didn't come out. So she was really keen on where I was standing. So again, like if you see me here, I've left the garages and I've came down to the yard, especially in the place where she dug in the yard. And what happened is I can see her behind me. So I would like take my camera out and take a picture as if I'm taking a picture, but I'd already turned around and seen her looking out the window. I'm like, oh, I thought you were working. Okay. And people can take a break is what she's going to say when she comes outside. So I was standing there and she probably caught me because I was looking awfully hard, looking at the ground and looking at this hole and looking at what's in the hole. And it is sending unbelievable alerts through the spiritual side of me. No question about it. It is sending alerts. The spiritual side of me is sounding alarms because I know that no animal did that. I could tell that something was used to dig it. And I could tell that she tried to cover it up and didn't cover it up. And I'm going, oh, 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 now I get it. She lived across the street from a cemetery. Oh, dirt. I'm going, oh, hoodoo. Oh my God. I'm going like, holy cow. Wow. So now all of the schooling that I learned, everything I learned in Africa, everything I learned in Haiti is coming back to me about hoodoo and voodoo. So now I'm at a complete disadvantage because I didn't bring anything to this place. This woman don't know where I live at, don't know anything at all, period. Nothing but whatever little bit I shared with her up here, but I never brought any of my stuff from where I lived back east. At that time, I was living in Virginia Beach. But since then, I've sold my house and moved and bought another one. But she wouldn't know anything at all, period, because she never seen it. She was so busy chasing up this other guy's ass that she didn't even know what she had. And I am so glad that she was chasing up his ass. I'm 100%. I don't have to tell her anything. I refuse to. Even as I was asked a few months ago by her lawyer, I'm not telling you shit. I'm not giving her anything at all, period, whatsoever. Not a damn thing. Just whatever she wants, I'm going to sign it so I can get the hell away from her because I can't stand looking at her at all, period. I can't stand the sight of her. So I moved on about my business, but she knows absolutely nothing at all, period. How do you stand up and tell people you got involved with somebody you don't know a damn thing about them, never met one of their family members, never met one of my children or anything at all whatsoever? And now you're looking for money and information that you can't provide.
See, I loved you like a sister, but you died too quick. And that's why we called you bitch. I bet you.
I mean, just some basic things you need to understand and have information. So I'm standing here, I'm looking down, and now I'm trying to figure out, okay, I don't have my books because all my books are literally almost 1,700 miles away. So I cannot appropriately study what to do to gain my traction. But you have to gain some traction because I've been in this bondage for so long with her work in hoodoo. Now, it's not just there. I began to search the yard because I knew that it had to be so many square feet and stuff of that nature. And I would go all the way around the other side, and there were other places too where things had dug. So while I'm standing here, I know she's back there. I'm taking a picture. She can see out of the window. She knows exactly go in the corner or whatever it may be. She knows this haunted house very well. The evil spirits is in here are horrible. Even told me how her mother came to this house and drove all the way from Tennessee to Illinois, came to this house, and I guess laid down in it and spent half the night and got up the next day and wanted out of this house without giving any reason at all, period. That's her mother. Went out of this house, period. I mean, it's damn near a 10-hour ride, 11-hour ride from Tennessee up here. But get here to see your daughter, and it's like the next day you up out of this shit. And one of the things she told me that I'll never forget, and I hope my mama sees this shit, was that stolen stuff that he had. She began to give her mother and father some of that stuff. She did. Batteries and all that shit. She began to give it to them, and they put that shit in the car with them and took it back to Tennessee. And I'm listening and writing this information down too. And she said that when they got to a certain place at the gas station they always stop at, the mom got on the wrong side of the highway, and I think a truck or car, something tore up, destroying her Infinity. She could have died, and I think it hit her husband's side, who eventually died. He eventually died. Um, he eventually died, but he didn't die from that. But he eventually died. But he could have died. It was very serious, totaling the Infinity. And I'm going, you know damn well why they were hit. You gave them that jinky ass shit down. I told you gave them that jinky ass shit. I said, why you even got that shit in here? It's from your ex. You should have then cleaned this shit up. His clothes hanging in the closet and shit, all of that stuff. I didn't know it was in the closet. I didn't. You lying through your fucking teeth. I saw you open that closet. I didn't pay any attention. You've been in this motherfucker 6 years. You claim by yourself. You ain't open your closet and looked in your closet. You lying through your damn teeth. Anyway, I believe it was witchcraft and voodoo and that stuff. And I believe that's why that woman lost that car. And I believe that's why she didn't stay in that damn house, because she know the spirit in this house was definitely not right. But however, I noticed that she had lived all those years by a graveyard, and it never bothered her to go up there, and she talked quite frequently about it. And so as I'm looking at the hole in the ground, I go, yep, she practices hoodoo. And from information I gathered, I would say probably 3 generations of hoodoo workers. And although she didn't have a good relationship with her mom, she had a great relationship with her grandmom, and bragged about that pretty much as well too. But there's some issues with that, but I'm not going to go into it. So graveyard has an undeniable, strong connection to the spiritual world as well as to the natural world. Hoodoo practitioners harness the magical properties of the graveyard dirt. So they use graveyard dirt in spells and rituals, seeking to connect spirits and ancestors. Ooh, I wish I got time to go into that. But y'all can go to y'all church tomorrow and give all your tithes to them. I'm not going to give you all that information because, like I said, most of you don't support this channel anyway and complain when I don't do anything on the channel and don't even support it. But ancestral worship is real serious for some people. But anyway, from the other world to the real world. So they go get the ancestors and try and bring the ancestors. She thought her grandmother was in that house. I was like, your grandmother, trust me, she ain't in this house at all, period. There was an old lady, you could feel the spirit, but it certainly wasn't your grandmother. Because if it was your grandmother, I'm sure you wouldn't have turned out the way you did August the 27th when you lost everything in that divorce, as I told you would. As I told you, standing right in front of these candles, I said, right in front of these candles, I said, the Spirit of God told me that you're going to lose everything. And the whole time that I'm there for almost a year, I'm saying to her, I want a divorce. And so I went and got a kit that a lawyer recommended me to get. And I was saying, like, go ahead and sign this. So I came here single. I'm going to go home single. And she refuted to sign it on any circumstance at all, period. Wouldn't sign it. And up until the day I finally left, I'm saying, look, why don't you go sign this so we can get a divorce? We have no children. We have no property together. I can get a quick divorce, and you can focus on this nigga for real and quit hiding and opening up tabs on your computer like you're looking for a job and your black ass ain't looking for one, and you emailing his ass every day. Because I got every damn email she sent. I have every email she sent has been provided. Every email she sent every fucking day, emailing the motherfucker, begging him to talk to her ass, and he won't even email her ass back. I'm sure he read him, but he won't email her ass back at all, period, because he's not going to be trapped like she's been trying to trap him. You email a woman like this who's crazy, and then they'll turn around and call the police and change the email and say you're threatening them and shit of that nature. So he didn't learn that already. So he's not emailing her crazy ass back so she can do that. But she's emailing this man every day, never about that child. And that's one of the things the judge chewed her ass out about in court. That she never bought, that child's been gone since he was 10 or 12. I don't know what the fuck. He like almost 17 now. And she's never sent him a book bag, never sent him a shoe, never sent him anything at all, period, whatsoever. And how she fucks herself up I mean, I don't even know how to explain this. Let me tell you, she screw herself up. He tells her he's getting married. She has no proof that he even has a fiance. In fact, she put out that he was gay. All right. She the one did that, put out that he was gay and he was sleeping with men. So why would you even care if he's getting married? Then she jumps up because he shows an engagement ring, and then she gets married and goes back and reports that she's married. Now that they know she's married, the lawyer knows he's going to win because the only legitimate money that she qualified for was the 18 years in marriage with this guy. She would have got $500,000. That's what a lawyer I personally got for her ass negotiated. $500,000 for at least the time that she's been married. Dissipation would have got her another 250,000. So she was looking at about $750,000 if she can go sit her ass down and be quiet and not let shit blow up. Seriously, it would have happened, would have won. But then when you blow up shit into the whole community and wind up in a divorce, and then wind up with the lawyer and people listening for all of this shit, I would find out listening for anything activity, anything going on in this house, and then they look at why I'm getting a divorce and realize it's the same thing, some of the same things that he was talking about. Like one of the things, you can read that shit on the table and realize that in the first part of their divorce, the whole divorce was spent on witchcraft, where he was accusing her of being a witch and putting things in his food just like she did mine. That is the truth. This is like early 2018, 2019. The whole damn courtroom, the judges are trying to deal with witchcraft. And you know what? They believed she was actually in witchcraft. They really did. As the judge would say, in the divorce decree, which again, I got all 1,900 papers, all doctor statements and everything. I have every single one of them. The judge said there isn't a shred of honesty in your ass, not even an ounce of credibility in any damn thing you say. And he was telling the truth. As she go around and lie to people that, oh, this guy wouldn't give him no money, you could look into the checking account and see all the deposits he made each month. Even while I was with her, he was sending her money and stuff like that. And she was lying, just lying. He didn't do this. He didn't do that. He didn't do this. He's giving her money. Her father's giving her money. I'm giving her money. Money's coming from everywhere. Plus, she got money hid in various places, in various credit unions, 3 different banks. It was a total of 4, actually. Well, no, it was a total of 3. Then a couple of extra accounts where she hid money in her son's name. How low can your ass go? And at one time back in 2004, she hid money in her mom's bank account. So she had money everywhere and just totally misappropriating money. And she didn't care because it was never her money. It's somebody else's money. Trust me. People do not mind throwing away your money because it's not theirs. If you let them, they will throw your money away. So back to what I'm saying, I'll start over again. You see in the corner afterworld, you'll see hoodoo practitioners harness the magical properties of graveyard dirt in spells and rituals, seeking to connect spirits and ancestors from the other world to the real world. Used in a variety of spells, including protection, cursing, and love. Yes, they have the ability to make you love somebody that you don't love. At least you'll feel like you love these people. And you'll think that you're doing things out of love. You'll even go as far as hurt your own self. And these people are showing you that they don't care anything about you. Trust me. When you realize that somebody don't care about you, understand that they really don't care about you. Pack your bags and move on. They don't care about you. Graveyard dirt seeks to gain the favor and power of long past spirits to help manifest intentions. So basically, they use graveyard dirt so they can go back and gain spirits, and they try and control spirits of people. These spirits can be controlled because they're not of God. They're not in the resting place of the saints. Now, see, you have to understand how it works and what happens to you when you die, if you, according to the Bible. Um, if you read the Bible, and I think you go in Luke and you see Lazarus, you'll find some interesting things. the Lazarus I'm talking about is beggar Lazarus. All right. The beggar. He was out in front of the rich man's house. I don't know how y'all can not pay attention to that story. So he sat out there hoping that the rich man would bring him some crumbs, outside, and the rich man wouldn't bring him no crumbs. In fact, he was so in bad shape that the dogs came and licked his sores. He had sores all over his body, and dogs came to lick his sores. That was the only relief he got. But the Bible says he didn't die. The poor man died. He died. And the Bible said when he died, he found himself in the bosom of Abraham. Well, if he died, how did he wind up in Abraham's bosom? See, these are the questions you have to ask yourself when you're reading the Bible. Where, when, why, and how? Who? Where, when, why, and who? How did he wind up in Abraham's bosom if he was dead? Because anything that lives has to die. If you had a seed and you were planting flowers, that seed has to go into the ground. It has to germinate. It has to die in order for a flower to bloom. So when you die, hopefully you'll find yourself blooming and you'll be in the bosom of Abraham, just like the poor man was. And eventually the Bible said the rich man who fared good also died, but he found himself in a place of torment. He was in a place of torment, and he was in torment night and day, 24 hours a day. But the rich man looked over and he saw beggar Lazarus over there with Abraham. And he cried out to Lazarus. Now, I thought he was dead. Some of y'all are going to get a big surprise when you die. Those of y'all don't believe in God, you can wind up in heaven or hell. You'll believe in him then. But nevertheless, the rich man cried out to Lazarus that, bring some water over, just a little touch your finger in it, and give me a little water to cool off my tongue. And then Abraham spoke and said, when you were in the other world or alive, you fared sumptuously, you wouldn't give Lazarus anything at all, period. And here you are now asking Lazarus to bring you some water. He said, well, here's the situation. The situation is that even if Lazarus wanted to bring you some water, he can't, because God put a gulf between us. That's right. He said, God put a great gulf between us. And so if Lazarus wanted to pass from here to you, he couldn't. And if you wanted to pass from there to here, you couldn't. So there's a separating place for the people of God. And let's just call it the bosom of Abraham, or better yet, the word hell, for instance, because all of y'all are going to hell. Everybody is. Let me tell you why. The word hell means grave, grave. If you look up the word hell in Greek, it just simply means grave. And every one of us is going to some sort of grave. So every one of us is going to hell. Now, when you get beyond that, there's a place called Sheol. 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 That is the resting place for the saints. But then there's another place where the rich man was. That's called Hades. That is where there's fire and brimstone and torment, and the skin worms, they die not in your flesh. And that is where you're going to go after the grave. So they're going to put you in the grave. And then after you get there, God's going to separate the right from the wrong. The right is going to a resting place for the saints to wait when Jesus come back. And the wrong is going to a place of torment. Now, because those people are in a place of torment, they're not protected, so to speak. And people who practice voodoo and hoodoo tend to reach over into that place of torment to try and use those people. That's why there's certain graveyards that they use. Just so you understand, certain graveyards are hollow, meaning that they're godly and you can't use anything. You dig in one of those, ain't no telling what would happen to you. But there are some graveyards you can tell that there is something very spiritually wrong about them. And in fact, I give you an example. I wish I'd pulled these pictures up. I could have shown you, but I didn't. But if you've ever been to New Orleans, one of the biggest attractions in New Orleans are 4 different graveyards. A lot of things have happened to a lot of people who visited these graveyards, even died. That is for sure. They died. And you can see these graveyards if you ever watch this movie Eve's Bayou. These are the graveyards that are so famous that they're tourist attractions. If you go to New York, if you go to New Orleans, because things have happened in these graveyards. People have been walking around dead in these graveyards. They've been clocked, and you don't see people really messing around with it, even doing stories in the country, because some people who tried to do stories and put those graveyards on blast and film those graveyards have died themselves. I mean, died unknown causes, because it's just not meant for those places to be highlighted. But there are people in New Orleans who practices hoodoo. A lot of people get New Orleans confused and think New Orleans practices voodoo, but New Orleans is the capital of hoodoo because they have some of the most demonic graveyards where witches and warlocks, master witches, master warlocks, are buried, and those graveyards are famous throughout the world, where people fly into America just to go to New Orleans and see those graveyards. Some actually get the treat, if you call it a treat, of seeing dead people in those graveyards walking around. I mean, some of the most educated people in the world have been there. So if you want to call them crazy, call them crazy. But I dare you to get up and go to New Orleans and see for yourself. And when you ask about them, even the people in New Orleans will be shocked because you actually asked about them. And they'll be like, "Whoa, my God, why do you why you ask that?" Because they themselves they don't want to fool around in these particular 4 graveyards, okay? Because you have to be of the occult to even enjoy being there, because nobody of righteousness would enjoy being in any one of those graveyards, especially knowing the history of those graveyards. But yet, if you go to other countries, including Europe, there are a lot of witches in Europe and London, and they love to come over to America to go to those graveyards where these um, black art practices have been practiced. That's what it's called. It's known as the black arts. That's what they call this stuff. The black arts. And the black arts are being practiced alive and well in America and passed down through generations of people, especially people who want to use these for love spells, because they don't have the power, or they don't have the, what do you call it? They don't have the physical goods to make nobody love them. They don't. Some of them don't even have teaching. I was telling again my homegirl earlier. I was saying, you know what? I said I know every woman that I've ever been with, and I know uh, there's something about each of those women that I'll never forget. I said I remember one when I was in high school. I loved holding hands with her. To this day, I don't think anybody that I've ever held their hand in an intimate way had whatever was just in her hand, I love holding hands with her. That was it. I mean, there was something about our hand that we always locked hands. And when we see each other, uh, passing all these years go by, we talk about it. And I found out that she enjoyed holding my hand too. It's weird. I miss that. Whatever that feeling was, I miss that. I told her I met another young lady. And to this day, at this point in my life, I've never met anybody who could kiss like she could. And it just wasn't a kiss. It was, she kissed with all of her might. You could feel something in her kiss. And the kiss was beautiful. There was nothing nasty about it or gruesome or made you want to be sexual. It was just, you just enjoy kissing this individual. Now, I said all that to say this. This is the first time in my life in a relationship where I don't miss nothing. I mean, I don't even have a memory of anything intimate at all, period. I don't miss nothing. The only thing I'm glad about is to be away from that janky ass house. But however, they use this stuff for love, they use this stuff for cursing, and they use it to protect themselves. Okay. That's why they use graveyard dirt, and they use dirt in general. It seeks to gain favor and power of long past spirits to help manifest their intentions. And what was her intention? Her intentions were bad. Her intentions were negative. There was nothing positive about her intentions. She took even holy matrimony wrong. Um, just a lot of wrong intentions. And so when you start off wrong like that, you're going to end up wrong. There's no question about that. And so intentions were wrong, but nevertheless, as I'm standing there, I realize that she's burying things in that ground. So as I walk away to go back to the garage to sit down and smoke my cigar and wonder what the heck I was just looking at. I'm smoking my cigar, and then she comes out and she's looking out the window the whole time. And she goes, I said, I first said, aren't you working? You know, you working from home, aren't you working? She goes, oh, yeah, but everybody deserves to take a break. And she wants to go up where I was standing at. Yep, she goes right there to where I'm standing at. The picture is not fooling her at all, period, whatsoever. It is not fooling her. So she comes out and stands where I'm standing at. And then she walks back. She didn't pick up no weeds or anything. She said, well, you saw that hole? I said, saw what hole? The hole that you can't miss that big hole there. I said, I wasn't looking at no hole. I was looking straight ahead. I'm smoking my cigar. Took me a nice picture of me hot dogging. She said, you didn't see that horse? And she said, a beaver must have dug that horse. And that's I want to say, yo, God, I want to say, you know, you lying. Ain't no beaver dug that damn hole. A human being took something and dug that hole, and I saw what was in there. And eventually I started walking around counting feet and centimeters and looking at other things that was buried around that house and realized that I am trapped in a house that has the power of hoodoo. The power is so strong that as I tell you guys that since 2008, these people ain't paid no rent. Y'all not even hear me. Y'all not even putting it together. How the hell you can go from 2008 and still be living in a house in 2024 and you ain't paid no rent and behind in rent? The power of hoodoo and bank dirt and stuff of that nigga. You're not listening. Y'all not catching on. It was able to manipulate even institutions like a bank and things of that nature. I know somebody in a place that I visited, and I'm not going to call them out because I ain't got no beef with them, that buried something in their yard. And they lived in the house 10 years. Bank couldn't do nothing. Even after they moved out of the house, the bank lowered that house by half and couldn't sell that house. This house I'm talking about is not this house, but I'm talking about another house. This house was beautiful. This house is a house that you would desire. But regardless to who came, nobody would buy that house. And that's why they practiced hoodoo and buried something in the yard to curse the house. So what actually happened was the village got involved. They destroyed the house. Bulldozers came in and redug the yard, especially in the spot where they buried what they buried, but the workers didn't know that. And they built a new home, a new yard, and that house sold before it was even finished being built because they were able to dig up what was in the ground. Am I telling you to dig up what was in the ground? No. There's another way that you counteract hoodoo when you're in a situation like this. Because if you're in a situation like this, you're going to find yourself sick. You're going to find yourself unable to think. You're going to find yourself doing things that you shouldn't do. You're going to find yourself bending your will. You're going to find yourself in a pretty bad predicament, not understanding why you're in this predicament is because this house has been hoodoo fortified. And if you're away from God, you've been in fornication, you've been drinking, God can barely help you. He can barely do anything. And that's the reason why these people do this stuff is because they want to pull you away from God, because then they can have their way with you. They can have their way with you when you're away from your Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. If you're not serving the Lord and Savior Jesus Christ and covered by his blood, all this stuff will work. But I'm going to tell you one secret. If you're covered by the blood of Jesus and actually living right based upon the Bible, this stuff can't touch you. I shouldn't even be smoking that cigar. But you know me, I'm hot dogging, styling, and profiling. But nevertheless, I never lose my thought, my consciousness about God. And I told you, I've been in spiritual warfare for a long time. The book that I showed you guys that I wrote, you guys can order it too. Just email me at taniquereviews@gmail.com. You can get a copy of my book and you can see for yourself. And here's another one that I did. And I never lose my sense of what I learned. So I'm looking down and she's talking about this whole, now I know that this house is voodoo fortified. And then she starts hoodoo fortified. Then she starts, this is practicing voodoo. She starts to practicing voodoo and things of that nature and just took it overboard. I'm not saying that burning candles are wrong, but I'm going to tell you something. There's some people who take this stuff over the top, over the top. Now, I thought that when I first saw maybe, let me see if I got it here for you. I don't even think I got it up here. The first little altar, I thought it was just a little bit altar or something to pray. But as it starts to growing and she starts to listen to some damn woman who's and telling her to intensify this stuff. And I said, you know what, you're burning too much of this. I said, from my recollection, I didn't want to teach her what to do because she didn't know what she was doing. And I just like I'm trying to be careful not to teach you guys because I don't want you guys doing this stuff. I can show you spells on here that will change your finances. I can show you spells on here that will free somebody who's been in prison for 30 years. They'll get out of jail instantaneously. All this stuff is magical, and I'm not trying to give it to you so you guys can go out and actually start doing this. So I don't want to tell her what she's doing, but you cannot burn these kind of candles like this. And the reason why is because there's a thing called crossing and uncrossing. What is crossing and uncrossing? When you burn too many candles, you cross the supernatural world up and it's not going to work for you. And this is what she did, burning all of these candles, never taking a break, thinking that the more she burns, the faster this is going to end. And she started to crossing up spirits. She started to mixing things together. And then even in this the one altar, but she has a whole nother one upstairs in that bedroom. So I'm telling her, so you can't do that because you're crossing and uncrossing. You're causing the supernatural world to become confused. And when that happens, according to what I learned in school, crossing and uncrossing will make the situation worse. And that's exactly what happened. It got worse till she lost him, lost me, didn't gain anything at all whatsoever because she was crossing and uncrossing spirits, doing too much, wishing too much on this person, wishing too much on that person, wishing for a job, hoping that somehow she could magically get a son back that she abused. And yes, we have the paperwork stating that she abused. We have all the DCFS paperwork, everything. I told you all 1,900 and some odd copies, almost 2,000 copies of that divorce I actually have, including the divorce itself, which ended in August the 27th by Judge Keith Johnson. Some of it you can look up online. You look up Yvette or Yvette MacTape, and you look up and you see the divorce line, see the judge, the third judge, 3 judges in 8 years. And if you read his scathing report in the divorce, you go, this is a horrible person. He had to make himself familiar with 6 years of this divorce. And he went back through 6 years and showed what an unconscious woman she was and why she was undeserving of anything whatsoever and forced her to pay child support, which is due, I think, November the 1st. If she don't pay her child support, from my understanding, he's going to be seeking to put her in contempt of court where she have to do time until she pay it, which is why she went back to court October 3rd, 2024, to try and overturn the judge's decision on the to get the judge to appeal the divorce, the finances, as well as divorce itself, which would make her again it's just ignorant, just a complete ignoramus, like I told you, ignoramus who none of this wouldn't have happened had she not been stupid and acting unconscious downtown at Sherm and have people send me pictures and thought, oh, I got them out of her phone. No, bitch, I didn't get them out of your phone. It was sent to me. Video was sent to me, showing me your ass changing in the washroom. And you should be concerned with who would go through that kind of trouble to film you like that, and to film your whereabouts, and to film you in the washroom changing wigs and stuff so you can come back thinking that I wouldn't notice. I noticed I wasn't going to be there anyway. That's why I was ready to go. But nevertheless, people do crazy shit and the shit blew up. And that is the reason why she lost everything. So now I'm in the house. Let me get to how I got out of this real quick. I'm in the house and I know what I'm dealing with now. And I know I'm dealing with hoodoo. Now you got to listen because I'm going to show y'all how to counteract hoodoo. All right. Now I'm in the house and I know now something's wrong with this house, the whole house. I hated this house with a passion. Couldn't stand it. It was just a bad spirit inside of this house. And I remember a teaching that I got. And the teaching was, if you're in a situation like this in the house where the person practices hoodoo and you feel bound, the teaching told you how to get out of it. And how you get out of it in a situation like this. Maybe you got a bad situation at work and you're in your office. This will work there as well too. Is you take some, well, what they taught was a red devil lie. It's hard to find, but you can find it at a mom and pop hardware or just lie in general. Let me just say that. I don't want to hook y'all on a brand. I would use red devil lie. And you put it in the four corners of the house. Now, you don't just put it in a corner because you may have a cat or a pet or whatever it may be, but you have to put it where it's neatly hidden so nobody knows. Before you can put that fourth part of the lie down, all of this stuff and all of that stuff dug up in the yard is all gone, and immediately you'll feel the freedom. And that's what I did. I put down some red devil lie in the four corners, canceling all of the voodoo magic and stuff that was inside of this house, freeing my mind. After I put the fourth part down, that's when she came downstairs. She came downstairs. She knew something had changed. She could feel it, and she didn't know what it was. And definitely she could tell I changed. I let her know about those pictures. And so instead of her saying what I wanted to hear her say, I wanted her to say that I was sorry. That's all I wanted to hear. She went, who gave you those pictures? You've been in my phone. I ain't been nowhere near your damn phone. And she could feel that the tide had changed. She didn't know what it was. And so she went upstairs to go use the restroom, or whatever the hell it may be. And I got in my car and I left. And when I left, I went to a gas station and looked up in the sky. And I saw the sun, and the sun looked like it was brand new. I knew that I was free. I had reverted back to whom I was and remembered who I was. And I knew I was never going in this shit again whatsoever. And that's what lie will do, and why it was a good thing for me to know. And I was able to get out of this atmosphere. I have zero desire to go back, to be around it, to have anything to do with this woman again at all, period. And that's how you can counteract voodoo. Lie. Think it's something we used to use to clean our toilets. But this ain't nothing but dookie anyway. So you might as well use it to clean this too. Never. That's the truth. So I left, right? After leaving, less than 24 hours later, the house was finally clean. She cleaned everything out of that house and got the hell out of there. Honest to God. Had a massive moving out of the house with a little bit of her lying. It don't make a difference. But she wasn't going to stay there because too many people she owed and too many people know she was there, and there was nobody there to protect her anymore. So we don't know who took this picture. The police did. The police went there and looked all through there and saw that house with and one of the cops who went here, he had been there before and saw all of that junk in the basement, all that stolen stuff in the basement. And yet, in less than a couple of days, she was able to get that stuff out of there and finally clean that damn house. You don't tell me that lie don't work. Shit clean now. They got to do nothing but mop the floors and dig up the yard and get that shit out of there. And somebody would have some nice family's gonna have a nice home. And she's already in bankruptcy court. She's not gonna get this house back because she couldn't pay the bankruptcy. Didn't understand how that kind of stuff worked. That's just a tool that's used to throw off an ex who is trying to ascertain a marital asset in your property. It's not a tool that's meant for your ass to be on for a year, 2 years for you to try and pay $9,500 and some odd dollars a month. And she was just an idiot listening to everybody else, even people who hadn't been there. So if you suspect that this is around you, remember, put some red devil eye down in the four corners of wherever it is. And I guarantee you that it'll destroy any hoodoo that's being used in a lot of voodoo as well too. And that's how I got the hell out of there. And she got the hell out of there now. She's going to go back there to this house probably and try and milk it for what it's worth. Cause mommy got daddy's $500,000 from, the TVA and the nuclear disaster. She called her mom and her mom bought a new truck, brand new Tacoma. And she learned that, okay, mom bought a new truck with her 2 sons. And mom must have got daddy's $500,000 he was expecting. And she wanted in that money, which set a whole nother set of problems because she wanted that money that her mom got and manipulated and lied and used some BS to get mom, I'm sure, to send money to help her. And I'm sure mom was glad to send it because mom probably don't want her ass in her house, period. So give her what she wants as she sit here and lies. Because I'm going to tell you something. She's not going to be able to stay in this house with the people she's offended. If she does, she's crazy. And I'm going to say this, and I'm going to be done. I loved you like a sister, but you died too quick. And that's what we called you, bitch. I bet you.
See, I loved you like a sister, but you died too quick. And that's why we called you bitch. I bet you.
That's what we see Jay-Z has done. That's what we see Puff has done. The music don't become how you pay the bills. It's a lot of pressure off of it. You got other things bringing in income, you can make music.
This new song with Nip and Jay, what the fuck, I got something to say. What a slap in the fucking face. Like what the fuck is going on? Who told you that song and did you know all along? And why did your bitch sell that painting 2 weeks after he was gone? I'm gonna tell you what it feels like. It feels a little fishy. Feels like something's going on ever since that John Legend song and Khaled's prediction of a Grammy. If you ask me, I can't stand him. Seems a little weird. Question number 1, why is there no blood? Question number 2, Sam left in the AM is true, but you're talking about the shits all up in the afternoon. Don't trip, we're gonna find out the truth soon. Who did what to who? Did they plan to eat the chili fries or was it just a surprise? Can you see the lies of witness in a cowboy's eyes? Are we gonna just sit here and forget? Are we gonna ride like Nip said? It's a little weird that the judge quit. Handing out immunities like candy makes me sick. I got a lot of unanswered questions like, why is the footage all grit and I can't see shit? Who the fuck is that white man in that white BMW? Probably was the FBI. Yeah, I noticed that white guy, and I noticed the car wasn't in the pictures when they showed them afterwards. They thought we would forget. They got that shit backwards. They weren't expecting me to drop this track and raise all these questions with my Mac words. I'm really mobbing through LA smoking backwoods. I've been doing this shit all my life. TMC, AMI. You might just see an empty parking lot when you ride by. Well, me, I see way more. I see an independently owned store. I see the community taking power back, whether you're white, Mexican, Asian, or black. As long as you're not blue. Good ones, there might be a few, but from my life experience, I'm like, fuck that. I'm not defending Eric, but what's the fucking delay? They requested a quick trial, it's been over 800 days. They try to distract us in so many clever, creative ways. Yeah, you got your Grammy, and now you're a billionaire. But what about the families that are still living there? Seems a little unfair, just a little something to compare. I never seen a fireman wearing a bulletproof vest. Yes, the shit to me seems a little suspect. The shit's a little weird. Crisis actors taking away our fathers, making our child some bastards, killing creative men and women for their masters. The waves that Nip wrote in, you didn't know when it began. A bunch of new chapters, you didn't think about what would happen after. We would put the pieces together on your transparent bullshit. I can see right through it, like the clear blue sky in the LA sunny weather, where the palm trees swing side to side and we ride together on a white horse or a double R hearse in a foreign car. Either way, you gotta be be on guard, because they're on tap for anyone who's brown or black with tats. Everybody sees it, but nobody wants to attack. It's sad if you ask, we all got a blast back. We're in the game, though we can't touch the ball. Seems a little unfair if you ask me, that's all. So take your ignorant ass to YouTube and type in Tanique Reviews to get the real news. We're doing the shit for justice, not views. Sharing knowledge and coming together, that's the real tool. He tried to lead us to the lake, so don't sleep on the knowledge that he gave to me and you. He wanted us to learn from his mistakes, so with our new knowledge, good decisions we could make. And also one thing I wanted to say myself, they killed Dr. Sebi because he was teaching health. Assassins, they come in all shapes and sizes, big booties, hips and thighs. Oh, you're Diddy's girl, right? Oh yeah, John Legend, some things happen at your video shoot. I got a couple questions for you. All those strings you pulled, you still can't make a rap hit. You punk ass little bitch, you probably got a little dick. All the shit that you have to did. This new song with Nip and Jay, what the fuck, I got something to say. What a slap in the fucking face. This new song with Nip and Jay, what the fuck, I got something to say. What a slap in the fucking face.